There's multiple problems in the world of college football right now, whether it be expansion, conference realignment, NIL collectives, whatever the case is, there's certainly problems. But at least we have the solution of bringing back the college football video game. After a decade of us complaining nonstop, EA Sports finally listened and has given us EA CFB 2025. And what's going to be really interesting is to see the rankings of players, primarily in the SEC, because it is the conference that just means more. So my question today: who would you give a 99 to for the very first college football video game ranking? What's going on, SEC Unfiltered? It's Cole Thompson here. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the ring notification. That way you don't miss a single episode of SEC Unfiltered, because we talk SEC sports every single day on this platform. Make sure that you're following me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel at Mr. Cole Thompson. Follow us on social media at SEC Unfiltered. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We got you covered everywhere. Make sure you download the podcast version of the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, really wherever you get your podcast listening systems. And to keep up with all the information that is number one in the world of the college football best conference, check out SECUnfiltered.com. This episode, of course, is brought to you by MYBOOKIE. Now, you might have heard the name about MYBOOKIE before because, well, they're the industry's leading online sportsbook and casino, and it's not hard to understand why thousands of lines to bet on your favorite sports, whether it be the NFL, the NBA, college football, let's see, MMA, soccer. Yeah, they got everything out there for you. So do me a favor and take advantage of MYBOOKIE's prop builder and live in-game betting, where every single run, throw, touchdown, field goal, whatever it may be, is a chance for you to put a little bit more cash in your pocket. You can go ahead and visit us at mybookie.ag. Get your first deposit matched halfway up to $1,000 simply by using the promo code SECU when you make that first deposit. And the best part is, it's just a simple variety of ways to deposit instantly. You got credit card, bank transfer, Bitcoin. Who knew that was still a thing? But of course it is. We all know that. Whether you're at home or on the go, on your laptop, on your phone, it's never too late to go ahead and start that New Year's resolution. And it's a new year, new you. Maybe a new you needs a little bit more money. Go ahead and visit mybookie.ag. Use the promo code SECU and get a deposit match up to $1,000 halfway. mybookie.ag, and of course, SECU is the promo code. So, this isn't a promo code. This is just a reality. Just put them all together. Just randomly say you're going to throw a bunch of players into a wheel, and everything can change overnight. We all know that as the ratings continue to be developed by EA and Madden, you can be seeing a 99. But let's just start off at the beginning of the year. Just the start of the year. Who do you think from the SEC could be in that conversation? Maybe they end up being 97. Maybe they end up being 98, 94, 91. But at least you know that they are the cream of the crop. I think you got to start with the easy one. Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden. There's something about playing in this offense underneath Kirby Moore that just screams. Number 3 is headed to first round, Fred Biletnikoff, maybe even Devonta Smith-worthy Heisman caliber conversations. And I'm not going to go ahead and put the wagon before the horse, but I will say this. You looking at pure talent, there is not a better receiver in college football than Luther Burden. The fact that he stuck around for the last 2 years, wants to be a part of the system, and now gets to play in the same offense with the same number 2 receiver and an excellent complementary piece in Theo Wease, the same quarterback in Brady Cook, the same type of running back, no longer Cody Schrader, but maybe Marcus Carroll, in a team where the college football playoff is now expanded to 12 rosters. There is an opportunity for him to be literally everywhere at all times. If you are a defensive back, you are shaking your boots, realizing that you have to go up against Luther Burden. And there is a very good shot that if anybody in college football got a 99 in the ratings, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, regardless, Luther Burden, I think, has to be at the top of the list. Another one, Harold Perkins. This one hurts. This one hurts. And the main reason why is because Brian Kelly is doing it wrong. The one thing that you know about Harold Perkins, you put him in space, let him fly, let him be a spy, let him go and play sideline to sideline, be a good blitzer. You can do all that. And if an inside linebacker, maybe he can, maybe he can't, I don't know. But from a pure strategy standpoint, there is not a better off-ball player in college football than Harold Perkins. He is physical. He is lightning quick. He knows how to blitz. He knows how to play in coverage at times. And more importantly, he knows how to be a leader on the field. And when you have that demeanor and that physicality for any defense, especially a new one coming in underneath Blake Baker, this might be exactly what was missing. Baker's coming on in. He's going to be a linebacker. He's going to be working with the linebackers. Potentially, this could be another player that ends up benefiting from all these changes coming to Baton Rouge. And you watch him play, you know that he's a super talented player. So much so that before Jaden Daniels started getting the hype for the Heisman, people were talking about Harold Perkins Jr. being invited to the Big Apple. Naturally, that didn't happen, and LSU still walked away with the winner, but maybe they walk away with yet another Heisman finalist. And this year it is actually on the defense side of the football. Georgia's Carson Beck. Look, I said it about Luther Burden. You got to say it about Carson Beck too. There are a handful of players that simply doesn't matter what conference they play in, what elements they're in, what regardless of team they're going up against, they're going to put up numbers. And sometimes you don't look at just stat line numbers. You look at consistency, velocity, tempo. You look at mistakes. You look at third down plays. Those are things that really stood out about Carson Beck. And what's really interesting is that maybe he wasn't even going to be the starter. I mean, everyone was talking about how Brock Vandergriff kept pushing Beck to the brink during fall camp, and that was a 5-star talent. And he sat and he learned, and honestly, that might have been the best thing for him. Jordan Love sat for 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers, and everyone was ready to go ahead and call him a dunce, a bust, a loser. I just led his team to a playoff appearance and beat the number 2 seed in the Dallas Cowboys. Just a little icing on top of the cake. Maybe that's what you're looking for in Carson Beck. Lead your team to an undefeated regular season. One loss comes in the final minutes against who else? Alabama. Nick Saban's gone. Kalen DeBoer's in. You got a schedule that is very beneficial to you, and anybody who sees Carson Beck play this year is going to realize, yeah, it's another year in the same system. And they upgrade a little bit. They bring over Ben Yasurick, the tight end from Stanford. That is a plug-and-play replacement. You have Oscar Delp back at tight end. One of the most unique players in college football at your disposal in Dylan Pell. Not to mention you also brought over a couple of other wide receivers. You still have Ra Thomas and Dominic Lovett. This could be a very explosive offense in 2024. And right now, it's a little hard to say that there is a better quarterback in the SEC than number 15 down in Athens, Georgia. How about James Pierce? We're at the Indianapolis Scouting Combine for the NFL draft, and every year you hear conversations about the guy in next year's class. Oh, well, we got Dallas Turner coming out. Oh, well, Jared Verse is really good. I cannot tell you how many times I heard James Pierce's name brought up by scouts in the last 2 days. People are excited to see what he brings. He is physical. He is elusive. He's got a great first step. He's everything that you look for in a defensive lineman that is going to attack the quarterback. Last season, phenomenal for this defense. He's going to have another year to be able to build off of it. The thing that really stands out is that this will be a year where he'll be able to not only trust his offense with Nico Iamaleava starting at quarterback, but if he plays up to his delivery, we're talking about number 1 pick. So if there's already conversations of a guy like Pierce being in the day 1 chatter for 2025, there's probably going to be conversations about him being in the 99 tier whenever it comes to the likes of the EA game. And naturally, you look at a guy like him, it's very hard to not understand why. Malachi Starks. Yeah, another good one. Look at that. Georgia just finds ways to bring in 5-star talent, develop them like no one's business. And then when they get to the NFL, they still are elite players. And Malachi Starks is another one. The thing about him that's going to be really interesting, bringing over T-Rob from Alabama, Travarius Robinson now gets his hands on Malachi Starks. And everyone wanted to talk about, well, what about Caleb Downs? What about Caleb Downs? Would he be made available? Maybe. But Malachi Starks is an exceptional consolation prize. In fact, you could argue that there's not a better safety in the SEC than what you get in Starks. He's physical. He can play the run. He's great in pass coverage. I find it very hard pressed that you're going to find a better defensive back anywhere in college football that is not residing at Athens, Georgia. Trey Harris, Ole Miss wide receiver. Last year, career season, after transferring over from Louisiana Tech, 985 yards, working alongside Jackson Dart. They upgraded this offseason. They bring over yet another talented wide receiver in Juice Wells to replace Dayton Wade. They still have Caden Priestcorn on the roster. They feel comfortable with the running back room with the addition of Logan Diggs from LSU. But the main storyline here is going to be number 9 getting passes from number 2, and that's going to lead to 11. And they are an 11 top duo. This could be one of the best duos in college football, but it starts by having a great receiver. And once again, it's another year in the system. It's another year of a relationship with Jackson Dart. It's another year for him to be able to build that type of chemistry off the field that when it happens on the field, you just see your jaw drop. There are high expectations for Ole Miss in 2024, and the main reason why is probably because of this offense and offensive pieces, including guys such as Trey Harris coming back and more than likely going to start garnering a little bit of first-round buzz. Texas's Kelvin Banks. Yes, Texas not in the SEC just yet, but he is going to be by this time the video game comes out. There was a conversation that was being had by Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy this past week, and they said the best tackle that they went up against in 2024, including the Joe Moore offensive line from Washington in the Sugar Bowl, was Kelvin Banks in practice. That's how talented they think that he is. He has honed into his craft. He has become one of the best run blockers in the Big 12. He was phenomenal in pass pro this past year, and the competition is going to get tougher. We all can agree. We know the SEC is a completely different beast than the Big 12. But I can promise you this, you're an SEC team. You are probably going to see a Kelvin Banks at the transfer portal. You are doing everything to go at him. You are doing everything possible to guarantee he is your blindside blocker for at least one season. And that's why you have to consider this as easily a 99 in the video game. If you watch the way Kelvin Banks plays, you see his footwork, you see the aggressive demeanor of his potential, we're talking about a top 10 pick in the making. We're talking about a reason why Texas should feel confident, even though they did lose a multitude of players to the NFL draft and the transfer portal. You got back Carson, and you get back Quinn Ewers, but more importantly, you get back Kelvin Banks. You might be able to start Arch Manning and still win a national title simply because of this offensive line. And it's headlined by the anchor on the left side. Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. A lot of people are going to go ahead and point at his stat line and say, well, look at what he did during his 2 years at Texas A&M. Okay, well, look at how he played against the run at Texas A&M. Dominant second season in College Station, one of the best interior run stoppers in the game this season underneath DJ Durkin. And now he gets to work with Pete Golding. And Golding has been at least able to develop talent onto the defensive line. Doesn't mean that it's elite talent, but guys like Findarian Mathis does not make it to the NFL without the likes of a guy such as Pete Golding showing him the way. Last season, Ole Miss averaged roughly around 4 yards allowed per run defense carry. So basically, they nearly got a first down every 3 plays. You get that number down to, say, 3.2, 3.1, and you force offenses to get more one-dimensional. That's why Walter Nolan is in Oxford. He realizes not only is it an NIL collective big-time deal, but more importantly, it's a defense that I know I can be at my best level. And also, the really big important part about all this, he's not going to be alone. There's other guys there with Princely Unmenmi-Ellen. There's other guys there with Chris Paul. There is a ton of defensive talent, but no one was bigger this offseason besides Caleb Downs and Walter Nolan in the portal. There's a reason for that, and there's reasons to believe that without question, eventually he is going to find his way into first-round buzz. Similar to Robert Kimdichie. Jalen Milroe. This is going to be a Bulls one. And the main reason why is because everyone's going to have the opinion of Milroe. Well, he was benched, then comes back, then leads his team to a college football playoff, an SEC title, and then there's the play. Then there's the play in overtime. Well, do me a favor. What happens if Jalen Milroe just becomes somewhat alongside the likes of maybe Michael Penix Jr.? Because you know the guy that they just hired down in Tuscaloosa transformed Michael Penix Jr. from being an injured-prone quarterback into a Heisman-caliber candidate and nearly a national champion. Yeah, if I get any version of that, and I'm not saying go 100%, but I don't lose the elusiveness. I don't lose the physicality in the open field. I don't lose the speed. I don't lose anything other than maybe just a few deep ball passes a game. I think I'm going to be pretty content. They brought over Tremaine Bernard from Washington. Really good wide receiver complimentary piece. Ryan Williams is going to be in the building. We all know what he's going to bring to this table. So Milroe gets to learn from one of the best quarterback minds in the sport right now. And he already has a year of experience. Yes, there is something about the mobility that makes him potentially a 99. The arm strength, it's there. The accuracy, deep balls, it's there. If you're able to show enough in spring practice to where voters or radio voters or whatever the hell we call these people at EA Sports sees your value and they say, he's working with a guy that just turned Michael Penix Jr. from basically a common casualty into nearly a national champion, and you've already played with this offense in a completely different factor, maybe, just maybe, you belong in the 99 category. One more for you. This one I'm really high on, Shamar Turner from Texas A&M. The euphoric praise that came from College Station when Turner announced he was coming back was phenomenal. this is a difference maker. This is one of those players that you look back and say, hey, why was Texas A&M not really that good? And then you see their defense and you go, okay, it was always the offense. It was Jimbo finishing 101st in scoring and 92nd in passing. That's why, because guys like Turner, guys like Nolan, guys like DeMarvin Leal, they were fixtures and staples. And also, this is going to be a very easy translation for Shamar Turner to Mike Elko's defense. Why? Because Turner was a part of the recruiting class under Elko when he was the defensive coordinator with Jimbo. So he already knows the system. He was phenomenal last season, especially in the multitude of games, including the Miami one, where there was a couple of concerns. But still, this is a player that is a 3-down difference maker, adds tremendous value when it comes to pass rush, is really good against the run. I would not be shocked to see him end up leading the SEC in tackles for losses next year. And by the way, when he does, just remember you can come back to this video and say, oh, Cole told you so. Make sure that you check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast listening systems at SEC Unfiltered, Twitter, X, Instagram. You can also follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Play. Download and make sure that you hit the subscribe button, the ring notification. That way you don't miss a single episode of SEC Unfiltered. Do me another favor and make sure that you also are checking us out at secunfiltered.com for the best content surrounding the best conference in all of college athletics. I'm Cole Thompson from SEC Unfiltered. Until next time, later, folks.